Hi, welcome to another video. Today's video, as you could probably tell by both the caption, the title, and the thumbnail, is my 2025 reading wrap-up, more specifically, all the books I read and the ratings. Because my last video happened to be a very long video, I thought it would be fun to keep this video shorter and mention all the books I read last year, what the ratings were, and if I have any thoughts on anything, I'll go ahead and mention it, but I'm definitely not going to go into depth. I am currently using my iPad as a reference. Oh, there you go. And it's just taking longer than usual to pull up all of my information, so bear with me. To quickly start off, I'm just going to go through some of my 2025 stats. My original goal that I mentioned in my last review was 100 books for the year of 2025. I ended up dropping it to 50 books, and I ended up reading 60 books. I think 50 is a good baseline, so I don't feel like I'm rushing through all the books that I'm reading, so that I can actually be able to enjoy it and not feel like I'm fulfilling a goal. So yeah, that's my 2026 goal as well. So we'll see. But as of last year, I did end up going over. I ended up reading 60 books in the year with 23,197 pages. My average time to finish was 8 days. My pacing, page number, and genre are very consistent from any year prior, but again, medium pacing, 300 to 499 pages per book, mostly fiction. Genres were romance and contemporary, so very standard. My format of reading varied, so I did mostly print and digital with a couple of audiobooks, and my average rating was a 4.5. As you can see in the graph, it was a very wide variety because of all the books I've read. So yeah, that's all of my 2025 stats, and I guess I can go into all of the books I read. Some of these books I have done a monthly wrap up, so sorry if there's any repetitiveness. So to start off, I ended up finishing a book I started in 2024, Highland Heart's Holiday Bookshop by Trisha O'Malley. Ended up giving that one a 3.75. I then continued my Christmas reading with How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. I gave that one a 3.25. I listened to How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong, gave that a 3.75. Ended up reading a book of the month book, P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly, rated that a 4-star. Read The Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood, gave that a 4-star. Listened to Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, gave that one a 5-star. That was a very good book, although it was very short. I did end up finding out while I was reading that there was a movie that Cillian Murphy plays the main character in, and I'm still very curious to watch the movie, so hopefully sometime in the future I'll get to watch it. I ended up reading A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, gave that a 5-star. Two completely different books, both 5 stars. I really enjoyed both books, although they are both very different in style. I listened to Twisted Love by Anna Huang. This is the first book in the Twisted series, and I know a lot of people enjoy it. I wanted to listen to it. I thought it was a lot more digestible. By listening to it. I read the first 2 books, and I know they're releasing a series, so I'm very curious to see how that plays out. I still haven't finished the series, the last 2 books, so I gotta get on that sometime before the show comes out. But I gave that one a 2.75. I'm not the biggest fan of the first couple. Sorry. I don't know what's a controversial opinion or not. I just didn't enjoy them as a couple. And then I listened to Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood. This was a short novella. I rated it a 4-star. Very quick, very fun. Liked the main characters. Very cutesy. And then to finish off January, I ended up reading Beg, Borrow, or Steal, which is the 3rd book in the When in Rome series by Sarah Adams, and I gave that a 4.75. So then into February, I listened to The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, gave that a 3.5. Read the 4th book of the Love Light Farms series, Business Casual by B.K. Borison, give that a 3.75. I then listened to From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough, her daughter, and I didn't give that a rating. I personally don't rate memoirs. So then I ended up reading Funny Story by Emily Henry, gave that a 4.25. I really enjoyed it. I think I might consider rereading it. I then ended up reading the second book in the Shatter Me series, Unravel Me by Tahereh Mafi, gave that a 3.25. I don't know if I'm going to continue the series. Okay. I know it's a very big series that has existed since 2013, dystopian, young dystopian, but I don't know how I feel about the characters. In March, I ended up reading Babylonia by Costanza Casati. This is a book of the month I got as well, and I rated this a 5-star. And then listened to the second book in the Twisted series, Twisted Games, gave that one a 3 stars. I was more interested in this couple, than the last couple. I then read The Wedding People by Alison Esbach, gave that a 4-star. It was very slow to start, and I will say trigger warning if anyone reads that, but very slow to start. I considered DNFing at the beginning. Maybe it was just the mood I was in. However, the more I got into it, the more I wanted to know what was going to happen. I then read A Photo Finish, which is the second book in the Gold Rush Ranch series. Give that a 3.25. I read The Favorites by Lane Fargo, gave that one a 4.5. That one was really good. And if anyone is interested in knowing the behind the scenes of a sport so high, like a sport or an event that's so high stakes, and although it's not nonfiction, it makes you feel like you're reading about actual people and actual athletes. I then read Charlotte by Martina Devlin, gave this a 4.5. Oh, and then in April, I read The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Again, didn't give it a rating. I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borson. This is the first book in the Heartstrings series. I know she just came out with the second one, and I'm very interested to add that one to my TBR. But I gave this a 4.0. Very fun, very light, very romantic. I then read a short story called Medusa by Jessie Burton. Just like a very short retelling on Medusa and like a small portion of her life. I didn't really give it a rating. It was good, but I don't know. There wasn't a lot of content for me to feel like I can give it a rating. I then began reading All the Light We Cannot See, and this took me a little longer to read just because it was 531 pages. This was my second attempt on reading. The first time I read it, I couldn't really pay attention. I couldn't really grasp what it was saying. So I ended up putting it down. And then I picked it up again, probably sometime in April, and didn't finish until end of May. So didn't read a lot in May. But I gave this a 5-star. I thought it was really well done. That it was so interesting. Anthony Doerr is very poetic in the way he writes, and the way that the story is connected was really great. I then ended up reading The Front Runner, which is the third Gold Rush Ranch book by Elsie Silver. Gave that a 3.75. I read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. I didn't rate that one either, but this is one of those books where I was told to read in school, in high school. Didn't really read it back then. Mostly skimmed it, used the notes, Spark Notes, just because I was reading at the time, but it wasn't the style of books I normally read, despite my interest in science and wanting to go into the medical field. So I think it's always good to have informative piece. Oh, and then in June, I ended up reading the fourth book, I believe the final book in the Gold Rush Ranch series, titled A False Start by Elsie Silver, gave that a 3.75. I then read The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, gave this a 3.25. I know this is a series. I'm not going to continue reading it. And then I read Wild Dark Shore. This was also a book of the month I got by Charlotte McConaughey. Gave this a 4.5. I thought it was so interesting. The style of writing was so different to what I'm used to reading, but it just all made sense. The different point of views. nature itself kind of has a point of view in the story. It was just so interesting. So I definitely recommend reading it. Then I read Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I gave it a 4.25. Then I read Matched by Ali Condi. It's the first book in the Match series. Give it a 3.75. Don't know if I'll be continuing the series. Then I read Passion Project by London Sperry. Gave this a 4.0. Then in July, I read the third book of the Part of Your World series, Just for the Summer by Ali Jimenez. Gave that one a 4.0. I read Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is the first book in the Chestnut Spring series. Gave this one a 4.0. Read the third book in the Rebel Blue Ranch and the fourth book back to back, Lost and Lassoed and Well Wrangled, and I gave them a 4.5 and a 4.25 respectively. Then I read Problematic Summer Romance by Ellie Hazelwood. I thought it was very fun, very interesting, and kind of a good old time, so I gave it a 4-star. I read The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. Gave that one a 4.5. It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan. Gave this a 3.75. And wrapped up July by reading The Love Haters by Catherine Center and gave this a 3.5. To start off in August, we have Heartless, which is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series. Gave this a 4.5. Read Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welsh. Gave this a 3.25. Read Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I gave this one a 3.5. I have a little bit of mixed feelings. I don't know if I stand with my rating. I think if I were to think about it a little more, I might have dropped it a little lower. Wasn't sure about the dynamic of the couple. And then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Gave it a 4.25. Read This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Gave that a 4.5. And that wrapped up my August reads. In September, I ended up reading Seven Summers by Paige Toon. Gave this a 3-star. And I believe I both read and listened to it, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, not necessarily that enjoyable, as enjoyable as I thought it was gonna be. Read One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Gave this a 4.75. And I will say that they are filming a series on this book and the book that involved on the two brothers and their specific partners, and I'm very interested to see how that's going to play out. In October, I started getting into the Halloween-esque vibes. I read A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, gave that a 5-star. I thought that was very fun, very fast-paced. It's like a good romantic read for October, witchy but still cozy. I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I didn't give this a rating, but first, again, a little slower. Didn't know how I was gonna feel. I've seen clips of the movie, and I knew the gist of the book, but I never fully ever read it, and I thought it would be fun to get back into some classics. And then at that point, I was like, it's the start of my Harry Potter reread. So I did it to myself, and I read the first book. I then read the second book in the Gravesglen series, which is another witchy series that I started the year prior, 2024. Then I read the second book by Erin Sterling and gave that one a 3.75. Read the second book in the Harry Potter series. Read the third book in the Gravesglen series, gave that a 4-star. And then read the third book in the Harry Potter series. And mind you, that was kind of in the span of, November is when I started the Harry Potter series, I guess. So I only read 2 books in October, and then read a lot of the witchy content in November. And then, almost there, I promise, we're almost there. In December, I listened to The Littlest Library. I think I started reading it digitally, ended up listening to an audio. I gave that a 4-star. I ended up reading the 4th book of the Harry Potter series. Then I read Beartown by Frederick Bachman. Give this a 5-star. Just reading the way Frederick Bachman wrote not only these characters, but the way hockey was embedded into each of these characters' lives and the town itself. It was just so good and so sad, so devastating. So I definitely want to read the rest of the series. Keeping up with the hockey season, hockey vibe, I read Powerless by Elsie Silver, which is the third Chestnut Springs series. So this is, I believe the only one. Well, there's another one, but one of the few male main characters that isn't a cowboy. So I thought it would be very fitting, and it's a lot more lighthearted compared to the one I had previously read. Gave that one a 4.5. And lastly, to end the year, oh my god, we're here. I read Good Spirits by B.K. Borison. Gave that a 4-star. That was everything I read and all of their ratings in the year of 2025. I'm very excited to see what 2026 brings me. I've already read a couple of books. You'll hopefully be seeing more of me and my content in the next couple of months. I hope you enjoyed this. If you got to the end, I appreciate it. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!